Text messages that have been revealed thanks to court filings from Dominion's lawsuit against Fox News have revealed that Tucker Carlson, you see him over there, he is possibly the most prominent right-wing demagogue in the country, does not in fact have nearly as favorable a view of Donald Trump as he pretends to for the purposes of diluting his audience. We're gonna get into many of these different messages. The ones in question here are between Tucker Carlson and his producer, Alex Pfeiffer. Now bear in mind the date of the ones we're about to talk about. This is January 6th. It was a notable day, you might recall. Well, on that day, Carlson messaged Pfeiffer and called Trump, quote, a demonic force, a destroyer, but added, he's not going to destroy us. So that was his initial reaction to what we were all seeing moment by moment on January 6th, okay? We mostly as a nation agreed on that day that this is horrendous, that some sort of fundamental line has been crossed. Within 24 to 48 hours, most of the Fox hosts had realized, no, the audience actually loves it, so we have to pretend that it was fine. But take a look at this direct view into what he was thinking at the moment. Tucker Carlson, who has spent the 2 years since January 6th pretending that it was no big deal, it certainly wasn't anything dangerous or fascistic or white supremacist or anything like that, in the moment saw the guy who led it as a demonic force and has lied about that ever since. Well, you can go back further than that. It wasn't just January 6th that shook Tucker Carlson's view of Donald Trump. In the wake of the 2020 election, where obviously Donald Trump was and continues to lie about the result of it, pretending that it had been stolen. In the wake of it, Tucker Carlson didn't necessarily agree. He seemed to understand both that the election had been won by Joe Biden, but that Fox News viewers were not going to like that. They found that to be very inconvenient, even down to the level of freaking out, as you might recall, over Fox News's correct, accurate call of Arizona going to Joe Biden. So in response to some of the crazy things that Donald Trump was saying, as well as the strike back from the audience, Tucker Carlson messaged Pfeiffer on November 5th, so it's just a couple days after the election. We worked really hard to build up what we have here. Those effers, I guess, are destroying our credibility. It enrages me. Many on, quote, our side, and that's his quotes that he put on there, are being reckless demagogues right now, and that's my job. I added that bit. In any event, he says, we're not going to follow them, and said that Trump is good at destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong. You'll note he didn't say if we don't do a good job of covering the facts or reality. He saw that the fans were freaking out, and immediately it was about playing it correctly, making sure that you give the right impression, which obviously isn't just the honest impression, because if it was, you wouldn't be worried about playing games, you'd just be reporting the news as any sane broadcaster is supposed to.
Well, this is really interesting because this is Tucker Carlson. It shows him to be the biggest liar you've ever seen, and is a rare moment of him telling the unvarnished truth. So first off, MAGA guys, how do you feel about Tucker Carlson thinking that Trump's a demonic force? So whose side are you on, Tucker or Trump? Is he a demonic force, or is Tucker a sellout who's been selling you a bag of goods? Can you believe he's been lying to you that way? Okay, so the big lie, of course, is all of these guys know Trump's a lunatic, he's a destroyer, he's a terrible force in America, and as all the texts reveal, none of them believed that the election was stolen from Trump. They thought it was laughable, ridiculous, BS, right? And meanwhile, every night they go out there and they're like, oh my God, the election stolen? I can't believe it, it's terrible. Can you believe what they did to poor Trump? Then they go back off air and they're like, yeah, isn't Trump the worst? So now you know, Look, guys, they're lying to you because they think you want those lies. And there's a lot of truth to that if you're in the right wing, right? And so they know that if they don't, like, it's a very, very telling thing he said was that these guys, and Hannity said this in another text too, these guys are destroying our credibility, referring to the fact that the Fox News election staff called the election accurately. Isn't that amazing? They think their credibility is not being truth tellers, not giving you the actual news. Their credibility is with the right-wing audience. And if you don't lie to them, you'll lose credibility. I can't believe we got Arizona right. they're saying. I can't believe we said things that were true about the election. Now we'll have no credibility left with the right wing. It's actually, and remember, they're not wrong. When they were honest for a second, everybody went to Newsmax and OAN.
Yep.
And that's what led to this panic. And you see it in all the texts. Even Rupert Murdoch, the owner of the station's like, basically, this is an existential moment. We might lose everyone if we make the mistake of telling something that is true. That's amazing. Look, we all know they're liars, right? I mean, the mainstream media, we'll get to this later in the show, is like, turns out Fox News is doing propaganda. Did you guys know that? Yeah, of course, yes, we all knew that. But how crystal clear it is to them internally is kind of amazing. Now the part that's true. John read it to you guys, but look at this quote. Tucker saying Trump was good at destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong. That is totally true. There's nothing that Donald Trump is better at than destroying things. And if he turned on them with full rage, thermonuclear rage, he could have driven all of their audience out. And they know it. So that's part of the reason they lie to you about Trump, because they know that if they ever told the truth about him, he would rage against them and destroy them, and he would win. They know that he is stronger than they are. That is also very, very telling. I've got more on the potential of a Manchurian candidate that Trump is, but sure.
Yeah, and it's just listening to the discussion, it's a Marvel movie. It sounds like we're talking, demonic force is the superhero, he's super dark. They're in a movie, a bad Marvel movie with bigger effects, and everything has to be bigger and more destruction, and they don't really care. Because Tucker Carlson also texted that, our viewers believe this, our viewers are good people, but you are a hypocrite and you look down on them and you go out, as you said, Cenk, every single night is built on a movie plot lie.
Yep. A
lie that these people, they'll act on it. We've seen people storm the Capitol, and again, were those real bearskins? And put their feet up on desks. A woman was shot dead as she climbed through or attempted to climb through the window. The whole thing is horrific. And yet somehow Tucker Carlson believes he's like on this moral pedestal. And it's very, very bizarre. I don't know when they shut it off. Do they shut it off before bedtime, brushing their teeth in the mirror and now reacclimating with the family? Or does this just continue like an actor or actress who kind of assumes the role completely so that they can really get into character? I just don't know, but it's fascinating because in the movies, there's not depositions and these lawsuits where we learn things and we get to read their text messages in real time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that the metaphor that you're making there is pretty robust because like superheroes, these hosts have alter egos. They have their on-camera person that they pretend to be, that they don't really mean it, and we keep finding that out. Tucker Carlson's legal defense in court is, who would trust anything I say? And now we find out he fundamentally lies about some of the biggest political questions of our era. Was this a coup? Was an election stolen? Do vaccines work? Is there a pandemic? The biggest questions of our age, and in every single case, Tucker Carlson has decided to lie to his fans, even to their deaths, to the death of democracy. He doesn't care because he'd like a seventh house or whatever. I want to read one more text of his, and this is, again, like you had sort of mockingly said, what do you think of Tucker Carlson, right wingers? I know what they think of him coming out of this. The exact same thing they thought of him coming into it, because there's nothing that can shake their confidence in these people except perhaps that thermonuclear onslaught from Donald Trump. On November 13th, less than 2 weeks after the election, Carlson texted his producer that Trump needed to concede, quote, that there wasn't enough fraud to change the outcome of the election. And that Sidney Powell, one of Trump's lawyers, was lying about having evidence for election fraud. So there wasn't fraud enough to change the outcome, and the fraud they were talking about was a big lie. Tucker Carlson knew that less than 2 weeks after the election, okay? That was well over 2 years ago. He knew almost immediately they're lying, and he is savvy enough to know why they were telling those lies, why they continue to tell those lies. And when I say they, I do mean Trump, but I also mean Tucker Carlson, because I want to catch you up. This is not November 2020. Take a look at what he was saying on his show last night.
It's possible on this Thursday evening, you may be wondering what the hell is going on in our country. There are so many unanswered questions, some of them lingering. How, for example, did senile hermit Joe Biden get 15 million more votes than his former boss, rock star crowd surfer Barack Obama? Results like that would seem to defy the laws of known physics and qualify instead as a miracle. Was the 2020 election a miracle? Honestly, we don't know. We don't expect to get an answer to it tonight.
No, we do know. You knew almost immediately that they were lying. What we find out from these texts is that Tucker Carlson knows who his audience is. He knows how his career bread is buttered, but he also knows that making very specific claims about specific machines being rigged by specific companies, that's a fool's game. Dumb, idiotic people like Sidney Powell make claims like that, claims that could get you sued. He doesn't make those sorts of claims. He makes really broad, vague, condescending claims. It's the laws of physics, it's a miracle. The laws of physics can't sue him, a miracle can't sue him. So he can spend 2 years claiming that the election that he knows was not stolen, was stolen, get all the cred for it, and never expose himself to any legal liability.
How did Biden get all those votes, more than Obama? He was running against Trump. That's how he got him. And we were all scared to death that Trump was gonna end democracy. And we were right. As soon as he lost, he tried to end democracy. That's why all those people showed up to vote. Obama was running against Trump, he might have gotten 100 million votes. So, okay, now look, I like the superhero thing, I'm gonna build on it. First of all, we have the top villain's name, and it's unfortunately a badass name. Trump is the Destroyer. And that I could see that coming out of a Marvel movie. And now the state of America being what it is, I'm afraid of giving him that nickname because I think the right wing will love it.
Can we call him Meatball?
No, I've got one.
Oh my goodness.
I have a good demeaning one for him. He's thinking of calling DeSantis Meatball Ron. Well, then he'd be Meatloaf Don.
Oh, wow.
See, that's better. But if you call him the Destroyer, though, the right wing will love it. They will love it, and that gives you a perfect picture perfect, demonstration of what the right wing in America today is. Now, as far as their hosts, the problem is they're all the same villain, Two-Face, all of them.
Oh wow.
Okay,
yeah.
There's no discussions after we're off air at TYT like, oh, Bernie actually sucks, right? Let's go lie to everybody about how great he is. That's just, it's inconceivable. But at Fox News, that's taken as a given. Every text, you'll see more later in the show. Every text from Hannity, Ingram, and Tucker Carlson are like, okay, well, we know Powell's lying and Giuliani's lying and Trump is lying, but who cares? Let's go tell our audience they're telling the truth. We don't want to lose credibility. Okay, so last thing is, Trump put them in this unwinnable spot. He's like, if you don't lie and say I won the election, you're gonna lose your entire audience, and you can see the panic in every tweet, right? In every text, every email, right? But if you do lie, you're gonna get a giant lawsuit, and we all know it, and they knew it, and boom, they did. They got this $1.6 billion lawsuit from Dominion. That's what Trump always does to anyone who supports him. He puts them in an unwinnable situation.
Yep.
Either go lie for me in a way that you're gonna get caught and embarrassed and have personal consequences. Oftentimes I want you to break the law for me, and then once you do, I'm gonna pretend I don't even know you, I'm gonna throw you under the bus, etc. But if you don't do it, then you're gonna have these other problems and the destroyer is gonna come after you. He's so toxic. The only good news out of any of this is that the right wing attached themselves to this radioactive isotope. And so, look, there was that conspiracy theory.
Like the Hulk.
Okay, don't give him cool stuff. Anyway, there was this conspiracy theory a long time ago about how he's a Manchurian candidate, that the Clintons put him in to destroy the Republican Party. Lost the presidency with record voter turnout for Joe Biden. Lost the Senate twice because of him, indisputably, and now has torn Fox News apart and costing them billions of dollars.
No.
So, no, of course I don't believe that conspiracy theory. But man, and the Democrats are nowhere near smart enough to pull that off, okay? But if you were gonna do that operation, this is exactly how you would do it. So other than, of course, Trump winning in 2016, that's why it's not real, right? But the rest has been picture perfect for the Democrats. So hey, Republican voters, keep going. That destroyer's working out great for you. The last thing he's gonna destroy is your party.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.